Is your husband a, quote, gun nut? That was one of the questions posed to arguably the most important witness called to the stand yet in the David Wilson trial. That trial has entered its sixth day today, and that is where we start tonight for News West 9 at 10. I'm Tatum Gwynn. Thanks for joining us. Today, the defense called the wife of David Wilson to the stand to talk about what she experienced that night. We have Jonathan Plasek in studio to talk about her side of the story. Hi, Jonathan.
Hi, Tatum. Today marked the first time that we've seen a family member take the stand in the trial. Amy Wilson, David Wilson's wife, was called by the defense. And we had previously heard from Amy Wilson only through 911 calls recorded from that night. And today, nothing was off limits. David Wilson was visibly emotional as lawyers pressed Miss Wilson about her relationship with her husband, growing up in Snyder, and the history of their family. Now, a recurring topic throughout the trial returned today, the alarm system in the Wilson home. Amy Wilson spoke about how it came with the home and had a history of being unreliable for the family. In her testimony, Amy Wilson said that neither she nor her husband had checked the security system until after Wilson had fired his gun. That's when questions about Wilson's behavior were asked. When asked if she would consider David a gun nut, Amy Wilson said she would not. She also said he was always incredibly safe when it came to handling firearms. Now, Wilson was also grilled about questions regarding hearing Officer Heidelberg announce himself entering the house and the 911 calls recorded that night. But I think we might remember Wilson's testimony as being one of the most critical to the case so far. But we'll keep an eye on that case through the rest of the week. Tatum?
Jonathan, thanks.
Take a look at this. Viking pools in Midland County engulfed in flames. Sounds of explosions filled the air, and thick black smoke could be seen for miles. All this only hundreds of feet away from truckers at the Pilot truck stop and an RV camp right off I-20 and FM 1788. While many stopped to gawk and take video and pictures, it wasn't long before they started taking off. Sheriff's deputies swooped in, then they were forced to leave.
This is the Midland County Sheriff's Office. To all residents and bystanders, please evacuate the area at this time.
I gotta get out of here right away, just in case.
Truckers, people in RVs and campers could not get out fast enough. Tonight, we start with breaking news just a few blocks away from the News West 9 TV station. A massive fire you probably saw from the highway this evening. Tonight, it is a developing situation. But what we know is that Viking Pools off I-20 was the source of the blaze. It sits just west of the Pilot truck stop. Now, we've got Jonathan Plasek on scene to try to explain a little more about what's going on tonight. Jonathan, what have you learned?
Good evening, Crystal. Here's what we know so far about this fire. According to the fire marshal, Justin Bunch.
What was your reason? Wah! Wah! Why weren't you at work yesterday? Wah! Why don't you feel good? Wah! Boo-hoo! Wah! Cry your way to the weak zone.
Hey, did you recognize that guy? I'll give you a hint. He was in that car commercial. Rieger Dykes Auto Group. A hefty prison sentence and millions of dollars in fines. That's the future for a pretty famous West Texas face. Thanks for joining us. Here at 10, I'm Tatum Gwynn. Let's get started. The crime, it was very simple, but breaking it down is complicated. We've got Matheson stores to give you the rundown coming up here in a few minutes.
I just wanted to say I thought the judge and was very fair. Did a good job, and our family's just looking forward to the appeal. I know I'm innocent.
Now, that calm demeanor was much different than the one he often had with his employees, as we saw in videos shown at his sentencing today.
Come on up to the front. Come on up to the beast feast. Come on up to the millionaire zone. Come on up to the jet flying, private jet owning, gator wearing, Rolex wearing club. Come on up. It's a choice you got to make, or you can cry your way to sleep with all the other losers.
The judge decided Rieger was not a flight risk and not a danger to the community, so he will not be required to turn himself in until May 9th. Tatum?
So is draping patients in plastic a regular practice? We've done some digging on this, and we found that it appears to be used regularly in research environments, and it appears the precedent for it was set early on in the pandemic. It has been seen in some use for moving patients in hospitals other than medical center. These photos came from a hospital in California also using draping. You'll notice that it also has a large hard plastic type covering over the patient, unlike Nayeli Cerna at MCH. Now after that, the drape is then placed on top of the frame for transport. You'll notice it's pretty similar in appearance to the one that Nayeli was wearing. Once the drape has been safely placed on the patient, hospital protocols require the patient to be moved quickly to their next location. We already told you that Nayeli's plastic drape was in place for about half an hour. Another important protocol for draping patients is supervision. The research that we saw required 3 hospital staff members to be around the patient at all times. And in many cases, the patient in question was also using supplemental oxygen during the draping. Again, all of those protocols were used in Nayeli's case at medical center.
We can get you any car you want, but especially any new Ford, new Lincoln, new Toyota, new Mitsubishi. Come see us.
He's a regular Joe, though in the court's eyes, he's a liar and he's going to jail for more than a decade for it.
And first, gas prices shot up. Now everything else, when you could start seeing some relief at the supermarket.
Bitter cold wind chills and even a little bit of snow. I'm tracking what you can expect for your Friday.
Coming up in sports, they were off and running at the West Texas Relays. We'll tell you all about it at 10.
News West 9 at 10 starts right now.
You know, the boys weren't the only ones playing tonight. OHS was on the field too. We got those highlights in sports.
Yeah, Texas being sued by the DOJ, and if you won't voluntarily get a COVID vaccine, President Biden is looking for a way to make you.
And of course, I got your full forecast coming up just a few minutes.
News West 9 at 10 starts right now.